Hey there! Welcome to part 2 of our journey into the truth about failure. Here, we'll explore how failure shapes resilience, identity, and real growth. If you haven't seen part 1, head to our channel and watch it first. It sets the stage for what's next. Ready? Let's begin. 9. Real-life examples and case studies. Let's now bring everything closer to real life. Sometimes theory can feel distant, but when we hear real stories of people who have failed and then risen again, it helps us feel more connected. It reminds us, I'm not alone. Here are a few powerful examples. A. Thomas Edison. You've probably heard his name. He was the inventor of the light bulb. What many people don't know is that he failed over 1,000 times before creating the final working model. When someone asked him how it felt to fail so many times, he said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. That response shows how deeply he understood failure, not as a wall, but as a path. B. J.K. Rowling. Before becoming the world-famous author of Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling was unemployed, divorced, and living in poverty. Her first book was rejected by 12 different publishers. She said, failure meant a stripping away of the inessential. I stopped pretending to myself that I was anything other than what I was. Failure gave her clarity. It forced her to focus on what truly mattered and gave her the strength to keep going. C. Michael Jordan. Considered one of the greatest athletes of all time, Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Yes, cut. He didn't make the team. Later he said, I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. His mindset shows that failure is not the opposite of success. It's the road to it. D. Everyday people. But you don't need to be famous to experience meaningful failure. A single mother who tries to start a business and fails, but learns and opens another, better one. A university student who drops out, takes time to work, and then returns and graduates stronger. A worker who gets fired and feels lost, but later finds a career that brings joy. These are the quiet stories of resilience all around us, and they matter just as much. 10. The brain and failure. A look at neuroscience. Now let's shift into the mind itself. What happens in the brain when we fail? Failure is not just emotional, it is neurological. It activates parts of the brain responsible for pain, self-reflection, and learning. A. The anterior cingulate cortex, ACC. This part of the brain is involved in detecting errors. When we fail or make a mistake, the ACC lights up. It helps us notice that something didn't go as planned. This is important. It's our brain's way of saying, pay attention, learn from this. B. The prefrontal cortex. This is the part responsible for decision-making, planning, and reasoning. After failure, it helps us analyze what went wrong and how to improve. When we process failure in a calm, reflective way, we give the brain a chance to adapt and grow. C. The emotional system. Failure also activates the amygdala, which processes fear and threats. This explains why we sometimes feel panic, shame, or even physical discomfort when we fail. But here's where it gets interesting. If we experience psychological safety, that is, we feel safe, supported, and not judged, the brain shifts from fear mode to learning mode. So failure doesn't damage the brain. In fact, it can rewire the brain for growth, if we handle it with care. This is supported by neuroscience research that shows making mistakes helps build stronger neural connections. Reflecting on failure leads to deeper learning. Trying again strengthens cognitive flexibility. The brain wants to learn from failure. It's fear that gets in the way, and that fear can be reduced by environment, support, and mindset. 11. Mental health and the weight of repeated failure. Now let's talk about something more sensitive, but extremely important: mental health. While failure can be a source of growth, repeated or harsh experiences of failure, especially when unsupported, can also lead to serious emotional challenges. Number 1. Low self-esteem. When someone faces constant failure, especially in childhood or early adulthood, they may start to believe that they are not enough. This leads to low confidence, avoidance behavior, and passivity. Number 2. Anxiety and depression. Fear of future failure can create anxiety. Meanwhile, dwelling on past failure, especially when mixed with shame, can lead to depression. This emotional weight can impact sleep, motivation, relationships, and even physical health. Number 3. Social withdrawal. When people fail publicly or feel deeply embarrassed, they may begin to isolate themselves. They stop trying new things. They avoid challenges. They shrink their world. This is why it's so important that we normalize failure and support each other through it. The language we use matters. When we talk openly about our mistakes, we reduce the stigma. Here are some ways we can protect mental health during failure. Talk about it. Whether to a friend, therapist, or support group, expressing emotions is healing. Avoid toxic positivity. Don't pretend everything is fine if it's not. Acknowledge the pain first. Focus on effort, not outcome. This shift helps reduce pressure and fear. Set realistic expectations. Not every goal must be perfect. Rest and recover. Failure can be exhausting. Give your body and mind time to heal. Remember, failure does not make you broken. You are still whole, still worthy, still growing. 12. The power of growth mindset. To close this section, let's explore one of the most powerful ideas in modern psychology: the growth mindset. This concept was developed by psychologist Carol Dweck, who studied how students reacted to failure. She found two types of thinking. A. Fixed mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe, I'm either good at this or I'm not. If I fail, it means I'm not smart. If I make mistakes, I shouldn't try again. They fear failure because they think it defines them. B. Growth mindset. People with a growth mindset believe, I can improve with effort. Failure is a step in the process. Mistakes help me grow. They see failure as feedback, not final judgment. Why does this matter? Because our mindset shapes our actions. If we believe we can change and learn, we are more likely to try again, take risks, and succeed over time. The growth mindset doesn't make failure easy, it makes it useful. How can we build a growth mindset? Use the word yet. Instead of saying, I can't do this, say, I can't do this yet. Praise effort, not just results. Focus on process. Instead of saying, you're so smart, say, you worked hard. Celebrate small progress. Success is not a single moment. It's built step by step. Be curious. Ask, what can I learn from this? Rather than, why did this happen to me? With this mindset, failure becomes a teacher, not a threat. 13. Resilience. Rising strong after the fall. Let's face it, failure hurts. It shakes us. It questions our plans, our confidence, and sometimes even our identity. But here's the powerful truth. We can rise from it. This ability to bounce back after failure is called resilience. Resilience isn't about being tough or ignoring pain. It's about feeling the pain fully, then moving forward anyway. It's about learning, adapting, and refusing to let failure be the end of the story. Resilient people reflect, not ruminate. Ask, what's next? Instead of, why me? Use failure as fuel, not a cage. But how do we build resilience? A. Emotional literacy. Understand your feelings. Don't push them away. When you can name what you're feeling, shame, frustration, fear, you can begin to work through it. B. Reframing the narrative. Instead of saying, I failed, so I'm a loser, say, I failed, but I'm learning. This subtle shift in language can dramatically change your emotional response. C. Support systems. You don't have to go through failure alone. Friends, mentors, and community can offer perspective and strength. D. Physical and mental self-care. Sleep, nutrition, exercise, mindfulness. These are not luxury habits. They are your foundation for resilience. Resilience doesn't mean you won't fall. It means you will rise again and again with more wisdom each time. 14. Reframing failure in personal life. Up until now, we've talked a lot about failure in school, work, and public life. But what about the deeply personal failures, the ones that live in our private stories? Failing in a relationship, letting someone down, breaking your own promises, choosing fear instead of courage, wasting time, missing chances. These personal failures can cut the deepest because they touch the heart. But even here, failure doesn't have to be the end. It can be a beginning. Here are ways to reframe failure in personal life. A. See the humanity. Everyone fails, not just you. Not just once, often. You are not broken. You are human. B. Focus on intent, not just outcome. Sometimes we try our best, but things still fall apart. That doesn't mean the effort was meaningless. Intent matters. C. Apologize and forgive. When failure involves others, have the courage to say, "I'm sorry." And just as important, forgive yourself. Self-forgiveness is not weakness, it's the door to healing. D. Write a new chapter. You are not stuck in the past. Every day is a chance to write a new paragraph in your life story, even a better one. The greatest relationships, careers, and life changes are often born right after moments of pain and failure. Personal failure doesn't define your worth. It reveals your depth. 15. Failure in leadership, creativity, and innovation. Now let's turn our attention to the world of leadership, creativity, and innovation. Here's the simple truth. No one becomes a great leader or creator without failing, often and visibly. Why? Because leaders make decisions under pressure. Creators bring new ideas to life, and both require risk. Failure in these fields is not an accident. It's part of the process. A. Leadership. Great leaders don't hide their failures. They own them, learn from them, and lead by example. A leader who admits mistakes builds trust. A leader who hides failure creates fear. Think about the best bosses, teachers, or mentors you've had. They probably didn't pretend to be perfect. They were real. That honesty gave you room to grow. Creativity is messy. It's full of dead ends, experiments, and rejections. The artist paints over the canvas again and again. The writer rewrites chapters. The designer tosses out a dozen prototypes. Failure is not creative failure. It's creative progress. Innovation. Every great invention or breakthrough, whether in science, tech, or business, has failure built into it. If you want to build something new, you have to take chances. And if you take chances, you will sometimes fall. That's not failure. That's evidence that you're trying something that matters. Let's remember this. Leaders grow through mistakes. Artists grow through drafts. Innovators grow through setbacks. Don't be afraid to fail boldly, especially when the goal is worth it. 16. Final message. Redefining failure and embracing life. We've now explored many faces of failure: social, emotional, psychological, personal, and professional. And here's the message I want you to carry home. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. In fact, the most successful, wise, and fulfilled people are not those who avoided failure. They are those who faced it, learned from it, and grew through it. They stopped asking, "What if I fail?" and started asking, "What if I never try?" So what would your life look like if you weren't so afraid to fail? What dream would you follow? What relationship would you fix? What risks would you take? What truth would you speak? Let go of the fear of being imperfect. Let go of the belief that one mistake defines your worth. Let go of the shame that keeps you small. And remember, you are not your failures. You are not your past. You are not broken. You are becoming. So fail forward. Fail with heart. Fail knowing that each time you rise, you are more alive, more whole, and more unstoppable than before. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Take action today, not tomorrow. Press subscribe. And let's keep learning together. You're doing great. See you in the next one. Stay strong.